GamingBolt presents 14 video game moments where players got betrayed. Betrayal can be a powerful theme, and there's no shortage of that in video games. You could go several hours before being betrayed near the end. However, there are plenty of titles that prefer to betray you in the middle or the beginning, if only to let you get some manner of revenge later. Let's check out 14 moments where players got betrayed in video games. Spoilers ahead. Miller's Betrayal, Metal Gear Solid. For many of us in the PlayStation 1 days, Miller was one of the bigger betrayers. Despite assisting Solid Snake throughout his mission on Shadow Moses, especially when allies like Roy Campbell and Naomi Hunter couldn't be trusted, Miller actually tricked him into activating Metal Gear Rex. That's because, well, he's not actually Miller, but Liquid Snake in disguise. Angel, Daughter of Jack, Borderlands 2. Borderlands was dictated by following Angel's instructions, even if they led to a vault with a horrifying creature inside instead of treasure. In Borderlands 2, Angel reemerges, helping a new batch of Vault Hunters protect Sanctuary from Handsome Jack. As it turns out, fighting and defeating Jack's right-hand man, Wilhelm, was part of a setup. Upon taking Wilhelm's battery and using it at Sanctuary, the protective force field was disabled by Angel. Shock of all shocks, she's actually Jack's daughter and has been helping him the whole time. SAREN Indoctrinated, Mass Effect. Considered a legend by the Council and Spectres, SAREN was present at Eden Prime when the Prothean beacon had been unearthed. Commander Shepard and his crew were also there, which led to Ashley being rescued and Shepard receiving visions of death and destruction from the beacon. However, Nihilus, the Spectre accompanying Shepard, would come across SAREN, letting his guard down in the process. This led to SAREN killing Nihilus and activating the beacon, confirming his allegiance to Sovereign. ARCTURUS MENGSK, STARCRAFT. Maybe the betrayal of ARCTURUS MENGSK, who sacrificed Sarah Kerrigan to ensure the Confederacy was destroyed in StarCraft, won't resonate with you. Maybe this being the catalyst for Kerrigan becoming the Queen of Blades and the establishment of the Terran Dominion is all a bunch of gibberish. But if you were there and watched it go down, it was treason of the highest order. Doc Ock, Spider-Man. Throughout the game, Peter Parker is chummy with Dr. Octavius. The latter looks at Peter as a son, and the duo try their best to secure funding for their experiments. Unfortunately, Octavius becomes Doc Ock and embarks on a quest of vengeance against Oscorp, releasing the deadly Devil's Breath into Times Square. This leads to Aunt May being infected and near death without the antidote. In the end, Spider-Man battles Doc Ock to retrieve the antidote, and the latter reveals that he knew Spider-Man's true identity for a while. Peter is surprised but quickly turns to anger, realizing how his mentor had turned his back on him. RIKU opposes SORA, Kingdom Hearts. As confusing as the story for Kingdom Hearts can be, it's hard not to feel bad for RIKU in the first game. Not only was he convinced that Sora and Kairi had abandoned him, but Ansem's manipulation took advantage of the darkness in his heart. Still, RIKU was kind of a jerk, even trying to take the Keyblade from Sora before fighting him. RIKU does get some redemption later, but that initial stint as a villain was no joke. Sephiroth's Madness, Final Fantasy VII. If there's one thing we learned during the PlayStation 1 era, it's that there were no shortage of betrayals, no matter what game you played. Case in point, Final Fantasy VII, which saw soldiers Zack and Sephiroth, along with infantryman Cloud, heading to Nibelheim to investigate Jenova. Sephiroth, a soldier legend, would learn of his true origins and go on a rampage. Zack attempted to stop him, but it was Cloud who ultimately wounded him. Jenova would keep Sephiroth alive until his eventual reemergence, which would lead to present-day events and deaths. Akechi's Betrayal, Persona 5. Much like many of the characters on this list, Akechi seemed suspect. He did have a sense of justice, which is why he seemed like a decent fit for the Phantom Thieves. However, he was quickly revealed to be the black-masked assassin responsible for the ongoing murders and subsequently betrayed the group. He was actually helping Masayoshi Shido become Prime Minister of Japan, venturing into the metaverse to take out various threats. Of course, he's wanting to take revenge on Shido for a while. In the end, he redeems himself somewhat, taking out enemies in Shido's palace to help the Phantom Thieves. HAVELOCK'S Betrayal, Dishonored. Corvo's journey in Dishonored begins with him being framed for Empress Kaldwin's death. Thankfully, Admiral Havelock and his loyalists spring him loose from jail and plan to take down the Lord Regent for his actions. Sadly, once Corvo rescues the Empress's daughter Emily and disposes of the Lord Regent, he finds that Havelock has betrayed him. The real plan was to install Havelock as the new Lord Regent as he rules with Emily as a puppet empress. Corvo survives what was meant to be a lethal poisoning, shout out to our boy Samuel, and sets out to repay Havelock for his betrayal. Why, Nishiki? Why? Yakuza 1. If we've said it once, we'll say it again. Kazuma Kiryu has had a rough life. In Yakuza 1, he would go to jail for a murder that his friend Akira Nishikiyama committed. After spending 10 years in prison, Kiryu was free to search for his childhood friend Yumi. What does Nishiki do after meeting him again? Shoots him, puts a bounty on his life, and causes all sorts of havoc, including fighting Kiryu head-on in the climax. Nishiki does sacrifice himself to save Kiryu, so there's that. Alphys the Deranged, Undertale. Alphys is a mess, and considering the various monsters and goings-on in Undertale, that's saying something. Who else creates a murderous machine to specifically hunt down the player and fake fights just to get on the player's good side? There's also the whole bit about her demented underground laboratory or the fact that she created Flowey. Whether you look at these things as true betrayal or not, Alphys is far from the cute, socially awkward nerd she's made out to be. Jefferson, Life is Strange. Mark Jefferson seems fishy from the outset. Nevertheless, we never really expected him to be the one responsible for Rachel's disappearance. The 5th chapter is pretty skin-crawling as a result, especially as Max does her best to survive Jefferson's manipulations. Undercover Vincent, A Way Out. The reveal that Vincent is an undercover cop and the brother of the dealer that Harvey killed, which resulted in Leo's arrest, probably isn't the most shocking plot twist. That doesn't make the betrayal any less bitter, though. After all, Vincent and Leo spent time breaking out of prison, running from the cops, confiding in each other, and even going to Mexico to hunt down Harvey. Maybe they could have just been friends in the end, or maybe not. Darth Vader does the usual. Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. The revelation of Darth Vader's betrayal was completely expected. Did anyone forget that this is the guy who betrayed the Jedi Council, murdered younglings, and almost killed his wife? The worst part of Star Wars: The Force Unleashed is that Vader betrays Starkiller twice. Once by stabbing him and hurling him into space after the Emperor learns of his existence, and a second time when he appears on Corellia, arresting the rebellion's leaders and informing Starkiller that he was never a part of Vader's plans. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from GamingBolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.